Hey class, this week I'm in at school in the UNCW Creative Writing Department. Here are some of my colleagues here. Here is the great painting by Chip Hemingway of Captain Charlie's cabins out at Bald Head Island. And we're under quarantine here. I'm sneaking in. For some reason I'm deemed essential. That's debatable. This is my office here, and here I'm very proud of this participant certificate for ping pong. And there's Ronald Reagan, Hadley Gessner. And here's a couple places that are really important to me. This is East Dennis, Sasuat Neck, Cape Cod in the 1970s. That's the house probably that impacted me most and made me write about what I write about. Here's another place that's very important to me, Boulder, Colorado. And here's an animal that's been pretty vital in my life. I think ospreys are great animals in of themselves, but they're also symbolically, for me as a writer, an example of going directly toward what you want and of kind of a monomaniacal obsession with one thing, be it fish or writing. If I were the groovy sort, I would call this my totem animal, but I'm not. And over here, back in the clutter of the corner, there's Bill Rohrback, who I'm not obsessed with. Sorry, Bill. And this is not a video about offices, unlike the last two. It's a video about these things, these leather-bound things that have lots of words inside them. And since we started this class with Thoreau, I would say this is probably the most concrete influence Thoreau had on my life. Starting, bizarrely, when I was 16 and had these little guys throughout high school, and then kind of graduated to more 8.5 by 11 size, or is that 9 by 12? Here I go again with the measurements. And have kept these for, boy, I guess, close to 43 years right now. And a big breakthrough for me in journal keeping was I'd read in college, I went and looked at Emerson's journals with all these full sentences and beautiful ideas that seemed fully formed. But the breakthrough for me was simply calling my journals my swill bins. Simply saying anything goes. Could be cartoons, could be drawings, could be the weather that day, could be kind of diary form. And that freed me up. It freed me up to put something in there frequently without a worry about quality, to kind of let myself go in there. I wouldn't call it free writing, because often it'll be noting what the clouds were doing that day or the sun, or something important that happened in my life, personal perhaps, or ideas I started to grapple with, or more and more early drafts of different books and different projects. And it really became a workplace. You know, Thoreau, I think, said, I am a contributor to a journal of no large circulation. Well, these guys, for me, have become more and more my storehouse, my beam yard for writing. And at first, I didn't really see their necessity for my real writing, my non-private writing. But in two ways, I started to see it. One, I'd be writing a piece about October, and I had suddenly 20 Octobers to draw on. And that was pretty good. I also found that the small things that you didn't think were particularly special, you know, this noting of the wind blowing through or the clouds moving, turned out when it was extracted, and then other moments were extracted and distilled, it was pretty good to have, and it actually found its way into my finished work. And then perhaps most importantly, the journals were a place of practice, and what I practiced was talking to myself and wrestling with ideas, kind of groping and working through these things, but also developing the voice unself-consciously that was doing the groping and grappling. And so what I started to find is what I called my journal voice when I was talking to myself was stronger than the more stilted language I used in my finished pieces. And so a real movement for me, and hopefully for you, is to get a voice, a private voice, that becomes also your public voice. So I couldn't recommend, I mean, also it's pretty damn fun to be able to go and say, oh, what was I doing on April 22nd in 1991, and go find it. So that's fun too, but it's really been a beneficial thing. And so thanks, Henry, for that. It's much appreciated.